Hey guys, welcome to Interesting Weird and Wild Rifts. You're back with a Sivir supplementary guide built up on screen as usual. We'll talk about it in a while. But first things first, just a small little announcement. We're going to be going back to, daily videos instead of, a video every other day from time to time, because I do realize that from now to the 18th of July when patch 5.2, I think it is, comes out, we do still have quite a little bit of content to cover, so we will be doing daily videos from time to time, and the other times we will be doing on alternate days, but we'll kind of see how it goes and we'll kind of just play by ear from there. So you guys can look forward to probably more content than what we have been posting recently. But yeah, okay, so let's talk about the build first. So this build, as you guys can see from the title, we did get better than 100% Sivir, and this build in particular comes from the top ranked Sivir player. Now, the main kind of difference of this build is two things. The first difference is not having Mole Reminder. So Mole Reminder, of course, is pretty much a core item on every ADC, just for the armor pen as well as the Grievous Wound. Very standard item. But in this build, you actually don't go for it, and instead you're actually going for both the Navori Quick Blades as well as going for the Magnetic Blaster. Now, if you guys remember, before the update with the Ruined and as well as the light items, a very popular Sivir build was actually to skip IE. So it was basically Bloodthirster into Quick Blades into the Magnetic Blaster and then into final item Mole Reminder. So now IE is a very strong item now, so most ADCs will never skip IE. So now instead this guy decided to skip the Mole Reminder instead of IE. Now this doesn't surprise me too much because of course Bloodthirster is really good for getting the huge amount of stats and the healing. Of course you really need Navori to get the lower cooldowns, especially on your W and your E, which are very crucial for Sivir. And then Blaster is just really good for the extra range and the attack speed. Of course, also giving you attack speed, and of course, the very quick blades lowering the cooldown on your W, which also gives attack speed. Pretty much is where you get all the attack speed from. And of course, we have IE, which is then going to boost all of your crit damage and also put you to 100% crit in this particular build. Last item, of course, is variable. You could go for Black Cleaver, Maw, GA, defensive items like that, Starex even. But yeah. So the second real change is instead of going for Lethal Tempo, you actually go for Conqueror instead. Now, the logic of going for Conqueror is because last time Kraken Slayer used to be good for Sivir to make her stronger lane. Press the attack doesn't seem to have the same effect for Sivir, so pretty much Sivir has been going between Lethal Tempo and Conqueror. Lethal Tempo, of course, is more common, being a team fight focused ADC. Of course, in general, you're going to have a better time with Lethal Tempo. But of course, Conqueror does stack up more easily than Lethal Tempo. You can stack it up with something like your Q, for example, which will, of course, give you Conqueror stacks. And of course, giving yourself more AD and Omnivamp from Conqueror is also just going to be very good in general. So Conqueror, I can see why you get it, but normally it's because you don't have enough attack speed that you need Lethal Tempo. But with this build, getting the extra Magnetic Blaster for the extra 35% attack speed pretty much makes up for not having Lethal Tempo. Of course, this only really applies in the later part of the game where you actually build the items. So the early part of the game, you still will lack a little bit of attack speed, but you make up for it with a lot more attack damage from Conqueror. So overall, that's kind of how the build goes. Now you can see that we've already missed out on some of the action, and we're going to jump into describing the gameplay itself. While I was talking about the build, we did miss a couple of good plays. Firstly, Kindred comes in for a gank and grabs 2 kills, and then we run down the Nautilus and basically get another kill for ourselves. So now we're 1-0-2. Also, when Darius came in from the gank, we put up a very lovely spell shield to prevent Darius from hooking us in, because if we got hooked in, we would be in a ton of trouble. Speaking of which, Darius coming back in, I'm putting up the spell shield again. This prevents Nautilus from ulting me, because if he does, it's just gonna get spell shielded. And this is why Sivir is kind of one of the counters to Nautilus, because you can spell shield when you think he's gonna hook. Of course, that's a little bit of mind games, but you can also spell shield when he has his ult locked on you, and that one is very predictable because his ult does take at least a second to travel. Also, when you go and ward bushes or face check bushes, you can just spell shield as well. Nautilus is roaming to mid, so here you can see me actually catch the Xayah out. Xayah's now 1 HP, actually dies to Ignite, but it roots me under tower, and I get knocked up by Nautilus under tower. I try to spell shield my way out, but the tower shot has already locked on. So this one is kind of just really unfortunate, where I didn't actually need to even go under the tower and Xayah would have died. But I didn't actually know that because I didn't expect the Ignite to kill her, so I thought I needed one more auto to finish the job when she exits from her ulti. But that was not actually the case, and she did manage to get her E down on me, which not only did the damage, but also rooted me under tower, caused me to tank tower into the Nautilus ult, which was the chain CC, so I couldn't really, actually technically I could actually spell shield if I reacted fast enough because it was a root, not a stun, but I didn't, so I got knocked up by Nautilus and then I tanked another tower shot and died. So that was actually fully preventable, you know, by me. And that's not gonna be the last dumb death you're gonna see from me in this gameplay, despite getting 100% of better than 100% of Sivers at my rank, which is like master a couple of marks. Surprisingly, I do make a couple of big boo-boos, but yeah, apparently that's still better than all other Sivers. Anyways, Nautilus goes in. I'm just focusing the Nautilus, stacking up my Conqueror. Now here I actually make a mistake to not ult. I was actually just trying to zone him away, not really trying to go on for a full fight, but it basically turns into a full fight where I basically don't ult, which causes me to lose out on quite a lot of AD and of course the movement speed as well. Now, Kindred comes in and ults to save the Xayah, which I am kind of speechless. Like, you could have ulted earlier to save me or Leona, but no. When Xayah is about to die, you ult and save her life. Veigar ults into the Xayah while she's in the Kindred ult and pretty much just wastes his ult. And Xayah actually nearly kills them just because of that really poor Kindred ult. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, but from that ult you can clearly see that this Kindred, you know, not you know, the best Kindred player ever. So yeah, just something to take note in the back of our mind, you know, that these kind of things could happen. So anyways, here we are able to shove in the wave. Nautilus is making his way back, and I'm just getting some free autos, of course, with the spell shield up to prevent Nautilus from getting engaged. Both of them have bone plating, and we broke both of the bone plating with the help of the ricochets of the W. Nautilus in that bush there. I managed to land the Q onto him at max range. Also getting some, you know, Conqueror stacks from that. And then we're just going to go ahead, spell shield the Nautilus hook. That's kind of what I'm talking about. You kind of know Nautilus is going to hook you when he walks up, so you just spell shield it. And yeah, we've pretty much been more or less fine against Nautilus the entire game. Kind of neutralizing the threat. Of course, Xayah is a little bit tough to kill. I say that although she has died 3 times, but of course you can see that it is really tough to kill Xayah because of all the feathers and because of the ulti. Haven't actually seen Xayah being played for a very long time. She's kind of always been a very unpopular champion, even at times where she's very strong, which you could argue that currently she's in a very strong state. I think she's one of the top ADCs actually, but no one is really playing Xayah at all, even when she's strong, because like I don't think Xayah is a very hard playstyle personally. I think Xayah's alright. Like, all you really need to know is to manage your feathers. But yeah, she's just really not very popular whatsoever. Anyways, here we're just gonna continue clearing the minions and basically just shoving them in. We can see Darius on the top side of the map, so we know he's not here. Yasuo, of course, you know, is also on the top side of the map. As is Annie, so now we know we're stuck in a 2v2 at the bot lane. No one is going to interfere with us, so if, you know, we want to go all in, something like that, now's the time. So here Nautilus ults me, you can see I can easily just pop my E and I'm fine. And here we go for the all in, but technically the enemy initiated it. And here we are going to sidestep to the left to prevent ourselves from getting rooted. Xayah does have ult, so she's actually able to escape by the skin of her teeth, and instead Nautilus takes the fall. Unfortunately, we've run out of minions here, so we do have to wait for the next wave, but thankfully Sivir can just shove in the wave pretty much instantly. You can see our minions don't even skip a beat. Run straight under the enemy tower, and we can now start working on the tower. Of course, we're going to be able to destroy this tower, and then we can immediately go back to base and, you know, pick up more items. We, of course, already have Bloodthirster completed prior to this, and now we're going to get, you know, half of the components for the Navari Quick Blades and, you know, start going from there. So far we're honestly been doing really well. Now, why I say this is because Sivir is one of the worst laning champions in the game. The only thing she can really do is to either let yourself get shoved in and clear the wave, or shove the wave in yourself and, you know, maybe roam. Now, you technically can have priority and roam, but that's not really, you know, the playstyle I like to play, because Sivir I really don't think is very strong in the early game, so I don't really, you know, like to pick fights in the early game. But the fact that we have a lead against the Xayah, decent lead, almost 1k gold lead against the Xayah, I think is already very, very good. Here you can see this is where I make the mistake. I get chain CC'd by Nautilus, I spell shield one of the CC, but Annie comes over, chain CCs me together with the Nautilus, and I basically get one shot 100 to 0 by the Nautilus and Annie. And this is kind of the dumb death that I was kind of hinting at earlier, you know, in the video. Yeah, so that's kind of the death that made me feel the most stupid throughout this whole game. I'm like, my goodness, what am I doing? Like, why did I, you know, just step up there to the Nautilus? And yeah, pretty much I just die right there, and yeah. So Sivir, where she really shines is in those mid to late game skirmishes and team fights, where you can basically attack like you know, one person and bounce your ricochets to everyone else, and they start just taking a lot of damage, and you just do so much damage to the entire enemy team. So here we're gonna get a first example of that. So here we go in with the ulti, run straight in, we're auto-attacking the Nautilus, it's bouncing to all of his friends. We get rid of him, and then we move on to the next target. Xayah ults, but she's not gonna get away this time. And yeah, we basically get rid of all of them. Thank you for the leash on the dragon, and we secured that as well. So here I was initially thinking of backing, but I see the only person left alive, Yasuo's on the opposite side of the map, so I'm taking this opportunity to go for the counter jungle. Now Kindred is going for a wave, and here after, she honestly should probably have backed here or went for the Grom, but she's going for another wave. So seeing as she's just going for waves, I'm just going to go for jungle camps instead. So I'm going to take the blue buff, I'm going to take the Grom, just getting the counter jungle in, and then recalling. So now, she's now in a pickle. She gets caught by Nautilus and is the victim of the same Nautilus Annie combo that I was a victim of just recently. And she basically gets one shot by the Nautilus Annie combo with the ult still up. Not sure if she just got chain CC there and had no chance to ult, or she just didn't use it. Either way, she goes down with the ulti not used. And yeah. So here you can see we're really, Sivir is really good at farming. You can see that, like for example, we cleared the wolf camp really quickly. We cleared this wave very quickly as well, just because of your W being able to bounce all over the shop. It's really easy to just maintain your farm up, and you know, just keep having a very high minion count. Even jungle monsters like the raptors and the wolves all have you know, really easy to do that when you're playing Sivir, just because of the nature of her having, of course, all of those ricochets, all of those bounces. It's really easy to do that. Alright, so anyways, here we're going to go for the red buff share. Now Veigar, I thought he was trying to steal that red buff. Thankfully, he walks away and allows me to take the red buff. Kindred's going to farm the raptors, and you can see while I'm making my way to bot lane, I'm just passing by the Krugs, and you can see I pretty much have to waste no time just kiting the Krugs. I only paused there for a second or so. I accidentally popped the fruits. I'm just going to take that, although I'm like full health, full mana, so I'm not even sure why I did that. But yeah, so I make my way down quickly, clear out this wave. It only takes like 2 seconds to clear out the wave. I can see that mid might have a fight breaking out because there's multiple people in the mid lane. Although Yasuo seems to be now veering towards bot, so maybe they're actually roaming through the river to bot. Either way, I'm going to connect with my team who are in the mid lane. Spell shield once again to get rid of this ward. And you can see Nautilus was indeed in that bush, so without the spell shield, he might have just hooked me there and I could have been in trouble. So here is the team fight that I'm talking about. Here Leona gets caught, set ults in, and here I'm just free hitting, no one is actually touching me. Nautilus finally tries to get on top of me, I get rooted, but no one is focusing me, I flash away. Again, just DPSing everyone down, and this is pretty much the dream fight for Sivir. I had like a good 3 seconds or so that I was just free hitting and no one was even trying to touch me. And when Nautilus finally tried to go for me, no one was really able to follow up, and I was pretty much able to take close to no damage in that fight because I was able to flash away and Veigar's cage zoned them away. And yeah, so really good fight there. It looked like it was a disaster at first when Leona went in with that engage into multiple people, but ends up with the Sivir carrying the fight, and off of that we're gonna go for Baron. I'm not sure why Kindred is ulting the Baron here and smites the Baron while it's the ulti. Like, my god, like, all Darius really had to do there is flash smite and the Baron would have been stolen, because Kindred ulted, which prevented the Baron from dying, which if you guys didn't know, if Kindred pops the ulti, objectives like Baron and Dragon cannot die. Even something like a red buff can't die when it's in Kindred ulti. That's just how Kindred ulti works. And she wasted her smite on the Baron while she was in the Kindred ulti, which meant that her smite was on like a 10-second cooldown. Which meant that if Darius simply just flash smited, we actually would have lost the Baron there. So I'm not quite sure why I have this Kindred in my game, but she looks like a Kindred from gold rank. Yeah. Anyways, Yasuo gets a nice wind wall here to prevent me from taking the tower. I'm just trying to pop my W and DPS wherever I can. Leona ulti goes in for the slow. I hex splash over the wall. Focusing the Yasuo is completely out of position. No wind wall left for him because it's still on cooldown. And here now we're going for Darius. We get an auto in. He's 1 HP. I got to aim the Q right there to get the kill on him, predicting his movement a little bit. I mean, honestly, he either just walked straight into my my Q, or he has to walk back and get autoed by me. So he dies either way. All I have to really do is to aim my Q in front of him, and he has no escape. So here Kindred secures the red buff. I'm gonna grab the red buff share. And here we are trying to secure this inhib, but Nautilus uses his ult to deter Leona away. Now the minion dies, and we pretty much cannot go for the tower anymore because the respawn's coming in. The 1 HP Leona gets hooked, pops the locket, and Xayah is coming in. Not sure why though, because as you can see here, I'm just bouncing my ricochets off of the Nautilus onto the Xayah, and Xayah dies from like literally 100% ricochet damage. I don't even think I hit the Xayah directly once. So yeah, that's how lethal the ricochet from Sivir can be. Now Sivir also pretty mana hungry if you are on the map for an extended duration of time without recalling, so I'm just going to grab the blue buff. And there is another blue buff for Veigar on our side of the jungle if he needs it, which most probably he does. Anyways, I realize I'm really close to IE here, so I just want to get a little bit more farms. I'm going to quickly farm the Krugs, and that should give me almost enough for IE. Just need to maybe wait a second or two in the base. Afterwards, I'm going to quickly I'll grab a recall. And I'm just going to wait in the base for a second or two. There we go, IE in the pocket. So now 4 full crit items without the Maul Reminder. Now I have to say that this build is not going to be the build you go for every game. Now some games you do actually want to go for Maul Reminder. Honestly, in this game we have Darius and Nautilus with both a decent amount of armor, which probably means this is actually a pretty good game to just go for the normal Maul Reminder build. But hey, I want to try this build out, so you know, it is what it is. So here I am able to immune the Darius hook again. Nautilus does get the knockup down. Set ults the Nautilus away for some reason, and Yasuo's Windwall comes in, which once again is kind of hard counter to Sivir and most ADCs, to be honest. But we're going to ricochet off of the tower onto the minions and then the champions. Yeah, no minions to really end the game with, so we're going to just back on off here. So here I make a little bit of a mistake. So here I grab the fruit, which is completely fine. Now here I see this little fairy thing. I'm trying to get rid of the fairy thing, which is not a very good idea. Yasuo comes in with the flash knockup. I actually don't get ulti by him, but here I get actually pulled, and yeah, Yasuo gets another nice knockup. 3-man ulti by the Yasuo, and all 3 of us die. Kindred ulti, not enough to save us, and all 3 of us go down. Huge shutdown goes out. Question mark ping comes up from the 3 and 7 set. Very, very nice. And enemy team is obviously, you know, doing Baron. Now, horrible Veigar cage, but Darius just walks straight into the Veigar cage for some reason, and Veigar just one-shots him with the ulti. I'm not sure what's happening here. So now we're having a 2v3. Now it's a 2v4, although they did get 1 kill already. Stasis comes in from the Veigar. Set is buying a lot of time, and so is Veigar. Gets the W down, but not quite enough damage, and he gets the knockup, and the set does end up going down. So thankfully though, the efforts of the Veigar and Set are not in vain, because even though they both died, they did manage to take down, I think, at least 1 champion with them, and the enemy team is no longer doing the Baron. So we did manage to deter them from the Baron. Now Elder Dragon spawning in 5 seconds. So I'm actually thinking that probably going to Elder Dragon is a better idea. Now unfortunately for me, my team is actually doing Baron, so I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do Baron. So here we do Baron, and we actually do it really fast. As Kindred, Sivir, double ADC, we do it really quickly. And now we realize that Darius is in the base, so he's not even near the Elder, and neither is Xayah or Nautilus, who's all on vision at one point in time. So no one is on the Elder Dragon, supposedly. You can see 4 of them there in mid. So here we're actually trapping for them to come, while waiting for Veigar and Set to actually arrive. Now Set actually decides to go and clear the wave instead, which I think in this case is not that crucial. But anyways, Darius, who is their jungler, decides to take a really weird path in. So gets chain CCC by Leona, and we're focusing him down. We actually get the kill onto him eventually. We Hex Splash forward to try to catch up to him as our flash is coming up. So now the enemy team peel off the Elder Dragon because their jungler is dead. And now I'm just, just running into their team basically. And only Annie and Xayah left alive. Now I realize here that I can just end the game. Xayah's on the wrong side of the fight. Veigar tries to one-shot Annie, nearly gets it. I'm going to finish the job with my flash auto Q. And Xayah goes down as well as we finish the game. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.